All right, welcome. Today we're going to be cutting out this heart shape on Make It Regina. This is one of my, I think this is my third or fourth project using this scroll saw. So I figured I'd record how it went and share it with you guys. The outside is fairly straightforward and easy to cut. It's just a heart shape. There's nothing special going on. The inside is a little more detailed. The inside actually has two faces facing each other. So I'm doing this just before Valentine's Day, and it's not really a Valentine's Day project. This is literally me just playing with the scroll saw, seeing what I can do with it. And as you can see, it's just plywood. It's not the most expensive of wood, or fancy of wood, but it will work fine for this project because at the end I plan on painting it. And, well, if it comes out nice, I'll paint it, but it's it'll work for this project. So we'll just pop out the inside there, and there's some corners that are hard to get when you're spinning your project around. So like the top of the heart there, I just saved for at the end here, and we just came back to it and just cleaned it up a little bit. There's a little bit at the bottom that I have to clean up also. But again, it's very easy to come back and give it that extra little bit of touch up after you're done. So the way a scroll saw works is you can actually take the blade out. If you don't know, you can take the blade out, insert it through your project, and then continue your cutting. And it's not a continuous blade that goes around. So it's one of the few saws where you can actually make a cut inside your project without having an entry mark. So to do that, you just pop the blade off, feed the blade through your workpiece, and like you can see I'm doing here. And then you can just start cutting from that point. The faces have a little bit more detail, so you will see me do the basic shape of them, and then I will come back and do the greater detail. And while I'm cutting these, I like to try to get the piece I cut out as one chunk. To make it easier on yourself, you can just chunk it into a whole bunch of little small chunks and take it out one piece at a time as you get finished in an area. But it's kind of I kind of enjoy just making to see how big of a piece I can get out at once. Now here I'm doing the actual eyelashes. These are very small. I thought for sure that I was going to break them, but I figured I'd just give it a try. I just kept a really low feed rate and just let the saw do all of the cutting. I barely pressed into the blade at all, and they actually turned out really nice. They were a little difficult to paint just because it's such a tight area, but it did. I'm glad that they didn't break off and it came out as nice as it did. It really defines that centerpiece. So now that that's all done, it was looking a little rough around the edges, so I gave it a sand with the belt sander. Great little belt sander. It made the edges really nice and smooth and uniform. With the scroll saw, it doesn't leave that much of a wander, but it does leave a little bit, so this just cleaned it up. The only problem with a belt sander is that it's a big bulky tool, so you have limited movement on it. So I was able to clean up the edges really nice, but the whole inside needs to be sanded by hand, and also like the top of the heart where the two pieces come together. So I just have a little sanding block with some sandpaper that I went at those with. And as for the faces, I actually don't have an orbital sander at this time. So I had to hand sand the faces too, which was all right. It took a little bit of extra time and elbow grease, but I think the end result is well worth it. All right. So now that it's all sanded up, it's time for some paint. I'm just putting some red paint on the front here. I don't know what happened to the rest of the footage of the painting. I actually did white on the back, and then the edges are actually all blue. So I'll put some final pictures up here and show you. I did 2 coats of red, 2 coats of white, and like 5 coats of blue. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please subscribe.